guys. It is your girl, Kayla from Death Curse, and it is time for another episode of Kayla Cuts Deep. Tonight's guest is David Chisa, who is doing a book for Alterna with Christian Rossi called RAD Rose. And we're going to find out about this book. And David's creative process and a little bit about him and the characters he's created. So now I present to you all David Chisa. I am not.
Hello. Good evening. It's me, David Chisa.
So I feel like every time that we were going David Chisa, it was appropriate now.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Spencer was the first person really ever that I've heard pronounce it correct without hearing it first. And his reference to the Goofy movie and the Leaning Tower of Chisa, me and my dad had a very long running joke about that movie, and so the connection between Chisa and the Leaning Tower of Chisa, it was perfect. So yes, thank you for pronouncing it correct.
All right, so let's get on with it. Okay, so
yes.
Your book was pushed a little bit back to what date?
Yes. September 8th. It was supposed to be today.
Okay.
And me and my wife are still celebrating like it was today, so
that's all that matters, right?
That's all that really matters. So I'm sorry for people that wanted to buy Rad Rose and also all the other really good titles that are dropping the same day as well. But yes, push back now, so a little more patience and you'll be able to read it.
All right. So before you got into doing comic books, right? You said that you went to film school.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Did that knowledge from film school and having your degree in cinematography work well with when it came time to create a comic book? Because I always heard that storyboards for movies or TV shows are very similar to a comic book. Yes or no? You can tell me. I mean, people are curious. I'm sure. So
that's correct.
Yeah.
It's only gotten more like comic books in the past, 20 years or so. It's their comic book artists were kind of the first people to have an eye for framing before cinematography really became something that was an insane artistic avenue to do. So yeah, storyboards are used immensely. I mean, the newest Mad Max movie is famous for being storyboarded from beginning to end by comic book artists and by anime artists. So yes, that is an absolute assumption to make.
Okay. And you've only been reading comics for about 5 years, you told me.
Yeah, I'm really new. I'm very new to it compared to a lot of people that I see involved with Alterna.
So what made you want to go and write a comic book? Was it something you read in particular? What was it?
For me, it's imagination versus budget.
Okay.
So for me, the avenue of storytelling with film is always going to be extremely appealing and something, I'm a film buff, so it's always going to be something that's in my blood and gets me excited. But the imagination and the scope of the stories that I want to tell just can't match a budget that's affordable or even attemptable at this phase in my life. So thinking of transitioning to comics where, yeah, there's still a budget and it can still be expensive, but it's much more dialed in, and when you're on set shooting something, it's like every second is costing you money, and that can be really tough to deal with when you're on set. If you're not getting shots, if weather's not cooperating, whatever, all the variables that can go into when you're actually shooting and on set compared to the variables that go with making a comic book, working with artists or writers or letterers, the risk reward was immense on the side of comic books.
What did you read that made you fall in love with comics, I would say, or there had to be something that you read that made you decide, I'm going to make a comic book? Or what did you get into? Or was it that you hated what you read and you felt, I can do better?
No, it was my buddy Trev. So I got to give a shout out to my boy Trevor. The first comic he turned me on to, first comic I ever read, was Garth Ennis and the Boys. So okay. I had been watching tons of, superhero films, X-Men movies, the Spider-Man movies when I was growing up and stuff. And he was the first person to kind of turn me on, like, look, there's comics out there that are not Marvel and DC, like kind of typical stuff that and so I checked it out and I was like, what is like this is everything that I'm looking for in a story, because this challenges in terms of the Boys, this challenges everything that I kind of assumed about comic books, and giving me a look at superheroes and villains from a different perspective was something that completely blew me away. And so I just read all 100, however many issue of the Boys there are. He gave me like all the volumes and stuff. Was like, dude, just give me this, inject it into my veins. And from there, since Garth Ennis was my first kind of entry into the world of comics, I just tried to seek out all of Garth Ennis's work and ended up reading The Punisher and seeing what he did in the world of Marvel. And from there, it just kind of opened up, and I just started kind of trying to read anything that I could get my hands on, from Marvel and DC stuff all the way to independent stuff. And I found that the independent titles were just so, the variety and the choice that you had as a reader were so vast to me. I was like, there's so many stories here that I can look for and seek out and read, and they're just right there, and they're they're less expensive than the Marvel and DC ones. Like I don't know, just everything about independent comics just struck me as being very exciting.
So when you went to create your book, I was waiting for Spencer to do that the whole entire time. I was like, why does my face look so goddamn big? And I'm so fucking tired looking. I'm like, seriously, how long am I going to have to stare at myself? I was just waiting. So when you read all of these independent titles, and what made you decide to submit your work to Alterna? Did you read any Alterna books, or how did you end up submitting your work to Alterna?
We gotta go back to the very beginning then of Rad Rose if we're gonna get into this. So
let's go. I'm
so
ready.
for the idea of Rad Rose, me and my wife are watching fights. We like to watch UFC. We watch different martial arts fights and stuff. We're watching UFC. We're watching Rose Namajunas fight, and she ends up knocking out the champion at the time and taking the belt, and just this crazy, she's the underdog, and this crazy story of her winning and everything. She gives a speech at the end, when the mic's on her, and she says, Joe Rogan's there with the mic, like, oh my God, you just shocked the world. What are you feeling? And the first thing she says is, I'm just normal, man. So it like right when I heard that, I was like, dude, idea just popped in my head. And this idea of this character who was so aware of themselves to be in such a position of greatness, and to still be so humble in knowing that she's no different than the people that are watching her in the audience at the moment. To me, that just sparked this creative seed that was like, that's a character that I want to write about. That's a character that I would want to read about. That's a character that interests me, and the idea spirals from there. I kind of sit for it with a week. I'm running through ideas, and I'm like, okay, if I'm going to seriously do this, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I need to find people who do. So I go on Instagram, and I literally search the hashtag comic book artist. Okay, this is how crazy the story of Rad Rose is. I search hashtag comic book artist. I've never done this in my life. And I scroll like 3 or 4 posts, and there's this post from a dude named Christian Rossi. Oh, and Christian I see Rossi. I see this piece. I see this piece on Instagram. I'm like, whoa, what is this? This is crazy. I check out his page. I'm looking through his art. I'm like, whoa, this is like, I really dig his art, and I'm jiving on it, and I'm following it, and I'm liking all his posts. I'm like, yep, I'm just gonna get in touch with this guy and see, like, is he even real? Like, the art is so good. Is this person even real? Is this like some fake person? So I get in touch. He responds to me with like within 12 hours of the idea and everything. Yeah, I live in Argentina. Tell me some of the comics that you've read. Like, give me some background on you. So we do that. We exchange messages for a little bit. And I sent him the idea for Rad Rose. I kind of got like the whole first script kind of written and ready to go. But I want to work on pitch pages. So I'm kind of researching the different publishers. And it's kind of 5 pages. Inked or colored is kind of the standard for how a pitch would go to any sort of publisher. I'm like, okay, I got to get 5 pages from this guy. How the hell do I convince this guy that it's even worth doing? Like, I'm just some random American contacting me on Instagram, like, hey, bro, you want to make a comic book with me? But I sent him the idea. I sent him the I played the freaking video game DC Universe Online and made a character. And I was like, hey, bro, this is what I'm thinking for the for the costume and everything like that. He's looking at these things. Like, okay. He sends me back a character sheet of Rose, kind of in 2 different outfits, her normal outfit and the super outfit. And I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. It's really happening. So from there, we just went. Christian just went with what I was doing. I was like, dude, I'm gonna pay you like here, like up front. Let's figure out a number. Here's the payment. The payment works. You're real. I'm paying you. Like, you're receiving the money. I'm getting pages back. Let's go. So when it came time to pitch the 5 pages, he suggested DC Hopkins, who he had worked with on Trespasser, a previous alternate title written by Justin Ryan that was awesome. And he suggested that I reach out to DC and get some letters for the pitch. So I did. DC was just as kind and willing to help. And the first time I wanted to submit to Alterna, it was because I liked Peter and his attitude on running the business. I liked the idea of printing on newsprint. I liked the idea of offering comics for, $1.99 at the time. And I thought that this was a moving train. Alterna was a moving train that I wanted to hop on to before it got too fast to do so. And I started reading alternate titles. Like, oh my God, dude, these titles and these artists and creators are awesome. So from there, we pitched to Alterna, and I heard back from Peter a little bit later. So a lot goes into that story of pitching to Alterna, but really Christian is the reason and the force for me wanting to pitch to Alterna, because he was the one who said first, check out Alterna. They're really doing things that I think you will be a fan of, and he was right. I'm a big fan.
And he didn't say go check out Void Walker or Can't Kill Kate. I have to.
At that time, see, this is what's crazy. It's about 3 years ago when I first had the idea for Rad Rose. Then. So the Rad Rose was originally supposed to drop December of last year. So with all the, I'm coming to Alterna at a big time of change and transition, which is awesome. But it did push back the title, and which ended up being better for it anyways. But at that time, Voidwalker had not dropped, and Christian. If you're watching, Christian, you didn't even tell me that Voidwalker was going to drop, and I had to find out for myself that he was doing something awesome with Spencer.
I just like to tease Spencer because he's great at everything that he does. He's like a crazy madman genius, like a wizard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a second coming of Alan Moore, but a lot cooler and a lot tougher.
And way more handsome. Far more handsome.
So that's pretty awesome. So you were inspired by the character from a UFC fight. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. Yeah.
I watch a lot of UFC myself, so it's always on in my
Well
house. I
then,
just
well
like to
then you.
watch people fight.
Yeah, yeah.
So there must be a lot of action in this book, I'm guessing.
Yes, yeah. Martial arts is a big part of the story, and it's always been something since I was a kid that I wanted to have in my life. So yeah, to make a comic book that has martial arts in it is very exciting to me.
I was about to cough, and I was like, let me drink and hold that cough back. All right. So what was basically, how did you go into the process of figuring out what it would take to make a comic book? So I know you had to do a ton of research. So where did you begin? So you started reading them, obviously, and
Yeah, I just tried to research as much as I could. I tried to read every article. I tried to watch every YouTube video that I could about people's experiences making comic books, and I'm coming into this game at a time where crowdfunding comic books is like, there's like a revolution of it.
Oh,
and
yeah, definitely.
It's crazy to see, and it's very exciting to see too. So seeing that and seeing how all that kind of stuff works has been just really cool to see. I love the idea of just DIY anything in general. So people taking control of not only their own comic books, but when you're doing crowdfunding, you're also taking control of your own career and your business. So it's very exciting to me that right now, currently, we have people like me, completely unknown, stepping into the comic book realm, but we also have creators that have big names who are starting to realize that indie comics and being the face of their own business and their own publishing even is the future of comic books is so exciting.
what was your process when you started writing? So where did you start? Where did you begin? You had the idea for this character based off of the UFC fight you watched, and so where did you start writing? Like, how did it start? Did you start with building your character? Did you start with an idea that you had and then feeding the character into it? Like, how was that for you?
It had to be character. It had to start with character, and it was. I've written enough really bad stuff that was not focused on character to learn the lesson that if you're not focused on character from the get-go, then you're just putting yourself in a hole. So the focus was on two characters, and one was Rose, the main character, and another character's named Randy, and I needed another character, a secondary kind of main character to kind of ground the story for the reader, because the story of Rad Rose is just, it's crazy and it's really out there. So I needed some relatability as far as it goes to being the reader, and especially for me, who's so new to reading comics, I really wanted to keep in mind that a lot of my friends and family don't read that many comics, and my comic book is even going to be the first comic book that some of my family and friends read. So wanting to kind of have a character that helped that process be a little less abrupt was something that I thought about and considered.
Okay. So when you were doing all your research, by the way, right? What did you find that was the most helpful for you? Whose YouTube was it? Or was there a book that you read? You said you were going through all of this stuff. What was it that helped you with your writing process for the scripting? Or I know you had all your film school knowledge and your cinematography knowledge, all of that. Was it a combination of that with your research? What was it when you wrote your script?
There was a lot of things that helped.
You?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of things that helped make the process of writing the first issue a lot easier. And I'll start with just my background of writing. in general. I've written stories since I was a little kid. I'm 32 years old, so I've been writing ever since I was 10, 11, and just the process of writing really bad stuff to get better is super important, just in general.
Yeah.
A second part of it is just experience in life. I've had a lot of time out living life and having experiences and traveling and meeting new people and just everything that kind of entails living life before really trying to write something serious. The third thing I'd say is leaning on my artist, Christian, and I can't give enough praise and thanks to Christian. And my biggest tip in general, if you're going to try to make a comic, if you're going to try submitting a comic to a publisher, work with people who are better than you. Like, put your ego aside and know that the people that you work with are going to help take you to that next level that you want to get to. Do it. Seek them out. Lean on them. I can't tell you how many times Christian has helped me be a better writer, just in general. And I've only been working with him for so long, but his ability to take my script and give me back what his interpretation of it is always better than what I wrote, first of all. So it's awesome to get pages back from him. But it shows me that the team, and this is what I love most about anything creative in life, the collaboration with your teammates and the ability to feed off of each other creatively and motivationally and everything in between is something that is just so invaluable. So those three things are like such a big impact on making things easier for writing. And also I like to take a trip to Switzerland in the Alps, and I seclude myself for a week with only a bottle of scotch and 4 T-bone steaks, and I just only live off that and write for 1 week, and then I come back home. And usually I come back with some pretty good stuff. So
what was one of the criticisms that he gave you early on that you didn't notice but then happily improved?
So are you talking about Christian, right?
Yeah. Since
Christian,
I'm on this book.
Christian's never given me any criticism on my writing.
Has anyone?
Of course. I mean, if you don't have criticism as a writer, what you better be worried. But
this book though.
But but I've had Christian straight up be like, "Hey, dude, I love this page and I love what you're doing, but check out what I did here, and what do you think of this?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's way better than what I was thinking, dude." So it just speaks to his ability to collaborate, because we're just both so open to ideas, and if he has one idea, it's better than mine. If I have an idea, it just works so well together. And yeah, it's hard to feel like it's criticism when it's always so open to discussion. So
that's it. So he's super nice about everything, basically. Christian sounds like an angel.
He is an angel.
He's an angel.
He's an Argentine angel.
All right. So I want to take a look at this area I found of Rad Road stuff up on Alterna. Sorry, I have a cat that is crawling that I'm trying to push away from my laptop right now. So give me 1 second to share. And I don't have to worry about sharing audio today, I don't think. Right? Do you have a trailer with audio? You might, actually.
I mean, I got footage. We got trailers. So there is audio. Give me 1 second. All right, so that means I got to stop my camera for 1 second, because every time I have a trailer, I'm going to freeze up. Give me 1 second. Yeah.
I'm still here. I'm just going
you're
to
fine.
share the screen.
I'll just dance and
audio.
entertain the
I'm sure
fantastic viewers.
Entertained.
You like to Vogue? What's up, viewers? You like to Vogue?
All right, I'm going to the alternate access page now, and I'm
we're not done. Sorry.
sharing the screen here. Okay, so this is the topic board here.
Oh, yes, the alternate form.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So here's a topic board here. And here is the trailer here, I believe.
Yes, it's an old trailer, but yes, let's do it. Forgot the whipping sound.
After Rose finds out 3 of her students have gone missing in Kratal City, she knows they need to be found, and found fast. With the help of another student named Randy, they begin the search themselves. But who exactly is Rose? Where did she come from? And how the f*** does she have superpowers? Find out when you read Rad Rose. Series drops spring 2021. Artwork by Christian Ross, letters by DC Hopkins, and story by David Chisa. Alternate access.
That was great.
I forgot I did that at the end.
Give me 1 second, I have to find it. I'm gonna go back here.
Fantastic. You know, production value just through the roof.
That is amazing. All right. So
man.
I swear you posted this recently, right? Or am I losing my mind?
Which one?
You posted this one, I thought, recently, and
the God Realm one. The God Realm posting is the newest one. Yeah.
Was this one right here? Hold on.
Correct.
So, what is this all about? I'm curious here.
So, first of all, I made this. Shout out to me and my artistic skills.
Better than what
This is with a website called Inkarnate, and if you don't know about Inkarnate, they do awesome. It's just like making maps for people that want to make maps. So they do everything from parchment style maps, like Tolkien style, all the way to cool stuff like this, which I just had the idea for. But I just wanted to give a sense of the God Realm. So before Rad Rose number 1, Rad Rose is a fighter on Earth, and something happened. I don't want to give things away because we'll probably go back and tell these stories, but something happens in her life where she dies, and she comes here, which is the afterlife in the God Realm. So I wanted to give a sense of kind of scope as to what the God Realm is like. So the arriving fields that you see is what you first arrive in to figure out whether or not your soul is good or evil. And if it's good, you continue on to the High Hall. And if it's evil, you continue on to the God's Death. So with Rose's story, her being a fighter and learning that the gods kind of live in a perpetual state of combat, they're always seeking things for entertainment. And the things that the gods love being entertained by is war and death. So that's kind of what they use as a celebration of just life in the God Realm. So eventually Rose finds herself in the war world, and that is its own universe in itself that is a perpetual state of war. You see the different biomes there. There's deserts, there's snow landscapes, there's the oceans.
I thought I was making it bigger. I guess not.
Weird, yeah. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the idea is that Rose travels to this war world, and there she enters a tournament where gods fight each other one-on-one, and the winners of these eventual tournaments win what's called a universe trophy, where they get to have their own universe at their entire disposal, so they can do with it whatever they want to. And so the war world is where Rose makes a name for herself and turns from a mortal soul into a god soul. And so I just had fun with this, kind of creating the initial area for different places that we will go as the story of Rad Rose progresses.
I love stuff like this. I'm really big into like maps and world building and
Yeah,
all of
me
that
too.
because I love fantasy.
You're
And
right. Yeah.
I'm big into fantasy stuff. So I love this whole concept you have going on here. I mean, what was your inspiration? I mean, Mortal Kombat a little bit in a way. I mean, did
I
you play?
mean, I'm
curious.
a lot. It's a lot. Honestly,
Like
honestly,
mythology.
Tolkien is a big inspiration.
Tolkien,
That's kind
yes.
of that's Lord of the Rings was just a big part of my life as a kid growing up. So that is like the initial kind of fantasy side of the story. But definitely learning about Norse mythology and Egyptian mythology and Greek mythology, and just kind of thinking about the idea of all of these gods existing in the same place,
Yeah.
but being from different areas seemed very exciting to me to tell a story in. So that was a big inspiration. And making the maps is like some of the most fun I've ever had. I'm so bad at art. Like anything artistic, drawing or doing anything, I'm so bad at. But making maps I'm really good at. So I'm on this high for a while.
This looks awesome. So I have a question. So Pete's doing like the fold out posters now.
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to be a fold out poster possibly? Or
You know,
what are you
I would
planning on
love
doing
it.
with this?
I would love it to be. I haven't talked to him about it yet, and you're like this. You're the first person who's given like feedback on whether or not this is even like dope or not. So
No, I love stuff like this personally. I'm a big fantasy person, as I was saying, and
yeah,
I just love maps. I love the look of maps. I love to see the different places characters are going to go. I love all of that stuff about the world building. And I know that there are a lot of other people that love world building too and love maps. I mean, if you go on Amazon for anything like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, even Game of Thrones, name it, anything with a freaking map. Three Dark Crowns, the series I read recently. They all have these maps that you can purchase.
yeah.
I'm dead serious. So, I mean, consider it, if you have time or at some point in one of the other books, since he's going to be doing those fold out posters, this would be an awesome fold out poster. I would hang this up.
All right. Well, I'll pass that on because that'd be awesome if we could get these in poster form for people, because I'm in the same boat as you. I love seeing where characters can go and kind of making up. I love that Tolkien had places on maps that you would never even go to, and you would kind of think like to yourself like, oh my gosh, what kind of stories could you tell in these places, or what's possible in this world. So yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, very excited about this kind of stuff. And like I said, this is like the only kind of art I can do for Rad Rose, so I'm super stoked to get my fingers on it.
And then too is like time progresses too and things change up within the story, you can alter the maps to reflect that. So it's really cool, like as time goes on, to show that progression, or if there's total destruction in an area, to show that destruction as a reflection within the map. I love stuff like that, and I think that that would be great as a poster. So find a way to do it.
Hell yeah, we will.
All right, let's see what else to look at here. Where was your newest trailers? Because I'm trying to think, where were they? I'm gonna search
those are probably on Instagram.
So I gotta go
that's
to
Instagram. That's usually where I'm posting. I find Twitter is a freaking. It's so crazy to navigate. I got to get better at. We had like an alternate meeting where Spence and Ryan were given like some really good tips on how to make Twitter a better experience. So I got to take what they were saying and put it into action.
And this is gorgeous. What's the story behind this pin up here?
Yeah, so this was done by Israeli artist Bella Reichlin. I don't know if I'm saying her last name correct, but when we were figuring out the pitch for Rad Rose, I was trying to think of a piece that I could get of her that would kind of sum up her personality and the kind of overall vibe that Rose as a character would have. And so I gave Bella, like, I was like, hip-hop, punk rock, and I want her, like, looking like she's just about to lay down, like, jams at some breakdance competition. And Bella gave me this, like, she gave me, like, a rough, sketch of this. And I was like, oh, my God, perfect. She added the holding the lollipop, the heart-shaped lollipop. And I was like, oh, my God, that's it. That's her. That's it. So... yeah, this was an awesome piece to get from Bella, and she took Christian's design with the suit and just ran with it. And her suit has changed up a little bit since then. We replaced the green with a more different kind of darker shade of red, but that is Rose in a nutshell. If you can kind of get a sense of her character from that piece, then we did a good job.
I think that's a gorgeous piece.
It is. I have the original hanging up in my house, actually. I had she mailed it from Israel, and it sat in customs for over a month.
Oh, I can believe it.
And I was so worried that it was going to get ruined, but it got here in one piece, and it's so nice.
All right. Give me 1 second, because...
yeah. You mean more dancing?
More dancing, whatever you want to do. I'm just pulling some of the...
oh, yeah, Christian's process.
Yeah, I'm just going to scroll down through this board here. Because for some reason, I could not find the pre-order page. Like, I can't find it.
I don't think Alterna's doing pre-orders anymore.
Okay, so that might be why. Because I feel like such an ass. Like, I was looking, I couldn't find it. I'm like...
yeah, I think Alterna's moving away from pre-orders because of just all the hassle from the printing and shipping problems in the last, year and a half. So,
look at these pencils.
Oh my God, it's like Christmas every time I get pages back from this man.
I love this facial expression over here, because this is like, to me, this is like somebody's gonna get their ass whooped, and I'm kind of afraid for their life.
Yeah, Christian is so talented. It's insane.
Do you want to, by any chance, pull up your Instagram and share your new trailers? That would be completely awesome. I mean, and this... oh, what is this? This is... all right. Can I show this in the meantime? So it's a quick video with cover art process. So let's...
oh, yeah, please do.
this out. There we go. I'm gonna have to... what happened?
I don't know, but I like the music. I feel like you just want me to dance. Is that what you want?
It's all right.
What you want, Kayla?
All right, I figured it out. I know what I did. I'm telling you guys, thank you so much for bearing with me every week while I screw something up at one point. So,
oh, stop. No, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Come on.
I literally meant to hit stop cam because on my side, it's like lagging on my side here. So I'm like, let me stop camera.
It's cool.
I hit
We're all chill.
Screen share.
All the people who watch it, they're so chill. It's all good. They're like eating spaghetti or whatever they're eating for dinner tonight watching this.
Let me go back to this here. Share audio so you can dance while this trailer plays.
Ba, 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 ba.
And I'm going to go back here to my StreamYard. I'm going to stop my camera so I don't freeze up on everything. And I'm going to go all the way back. I wish I had a slow motion button, to be honest.
Yeah, I know, right? Parental advisory.
Parental advisory. Here we go. I feel like you should be doing some kicks and stuff.
Oh, you want me to do kicks? I'll do kicks.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, come on. Oh, what? Christian, stop it. Oh! I can't even look at it anymore. Coming soon, September 8th. Don't forget. It's so good. Christian is so good at art. It's just, it blows my mind. I hope he's watching. I want him. Christian, I love you, dog. Like, you're so talented. It's insane, man. I haven't even had a conversation. What's crazy about making comics in this day and age, I haven't even had a conversation with Christian. I don't even know what his voice sounds like. Same with DC. I don't know what these guys' voice sound like. It's crazy to be making comics like this, but this is the world that we live in today, and Christian's work is just, it's so good. I don't know what to say.
I agree with you. I just feel like next time there's any music like that involved, I want to see you do like splits, like Jean-Claude Van Damme or something.
Oh my
like
God! Whoa!
Some high kicks.
Hey,
you know,
that's expensive. That's gonna cost you. Okay, we could talk about that, but that's gonna cost a pretty penny. And for all those folks watching too, that's gonna cost a pretty penny. Affordable, but expensive. You know what I mean?
10 cents.
10 cents. Whoa.
It's more than a penny.
we'll add like $5 in front of that 10 cents, but then we'll talk. All right, how do I share my? Okay, I see.
At the
share
bottom,
screen.
But hit share audio. Don't be like me, because I never share audio.
Okay. Whoa. Share.
David Lee Chisa.
David Lee Chisa. Who's that? Who said that?
That's Spencer.
Oh, okay. Share the screen.
Yep, and click share audio. It's a little button at the bottom that I miss every week. Besides this week, I shared audio. I just X'd out the video. That was my face, literally. Like, when that happened, that was literally, this panel right here was my face. Like, what?
Okay, so it'd be this, right?
Yes.
Okay. You don't hear any music or anything, do you?
No.
Okay. Whoop.
There's a FIFA soundtrack, though.
I like to listen to FIFA while I'm being interviewed on. All right, here's the trailer.
See, I told you kicks. I want to see some kicks.
Can you hear that?
Nope. Did you share audio, David?
Yeah, I did.
Did you pull a Kayla?
I knew this was gonna happen, dude. It doesn't give me. I don't think it gives me the option to share.
Inception. That was Inception.
Christ.
Let me see.
I'm so ill prepared. Forgive me.
Don't worry about it.
Forgive me, viewers. I'm so embarrassed. Please still buy my comic on September 8th.
Everyone is going to buy your comic on September 8th.
So that video is easily accessible on my Instagram at dadbaddie. You can find me there.
I'm going to see if I can find it. Like, yeah, give me 1 second, because I don't even know my Instagram password on my computer. It's so bad, it's like programmed in my phone.
I know.
All right, so give me 1
second. Deathcurse has no presence on Instagram. I feel like I need it. I need it on Instagram, because
we'll be kicked off. Are you kidding me?
Probably. But even better, right? Even better. Create a little controversy, build a following.
All right.
Let me just take the second while you're searching up the.
You said it's Dad Ratty. Ratty.
Dad underscore baddie.
Oh, baddie. Okay. BADDY or IE?
IE.
Oh my God.
Let me just take the second to shout out DC Hopkins, who's our letterer on the project as well, who's been a phenomenal. I said that word wrong. Phenomenal letterer and a great person to help me kind of.
I think I found it.
Oh,
Give
perfect.
me 1 second. Share
DC, my boy, if you're
screen.
watching, I appreciate everything you do. It doesn't go unnoticed. And
All
I've
right.
realized that the letterers are like the drummers of the band.
Oh, but I guess what I didn't share? Audio.
Whoa!
So let's try that again. Share
Yeah.
screen. Share audio.
We run a tight ship here on the Death Curse.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And Ryan Winn's just in the back trying to mess things up for you right now. I know he is, so.
I can't figure
Oh my
out
God,
my
you're not
account.
even signed
Really?
in.
No,
It's okay,
because
it's
I don't
public,
know my
though.
account.
It's public,
All right.
though. You should be able to. It's going to make you sign in.
Yes.
You can't watch it if you don't sign. Oh, my. Instagram. You are hurting my business here.
Literally.
You're hurting my brand. People shouldn't have to have an Instagram account to view a public one. Come on.
You should be linking that to your Twitter.
Oh, I think it is. I think it is.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
All right. Now I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission
I'm old
to
school,
go
but
to Twitter
I'm old
now.
school, but I'm not that old school. Like the video or my Instagram page? Because I'm pretty sure it's the Instagram page that's linked
Let's
to
see.
the Twitter.
Because if it
Don't
is,
show my Twitter. I'm embarrassed by my Twitter. Don't show it.
Oh, please. Can't be any worse than anything anyone on here posts. So. I make a fool of myself every week on YouTube. No, I don't think you do. You
No,
do
I
not.
don't. I do not.
No, you do not share.
Shiza.
Yes, Shiza is right. All right.
Yeah, I need to get better on that on the Twitter side.
And they're not up on YouTube. What the heck?
No, I mean I'm sorry. This Instagram is where I operate. You know, it's where I've been on Instagram for quite some time. So I don't want to.
I'm trying to see if anything is up here. I'm gonna look and see if anything else can pull up, because images. Sometimes in images, believe it or not, like videos pop up too. If I pull it up. It's a trailer from February 22nd, which I already played, I believe.
Yeah, that was the yeah.
Yeah, so let me get out of here. All right, try to share your Instagram again.
Okay. I share my screen.
No, Spencer, I can't sign in because I don't know my freaking password. It's like in my phone. He's like, sign in while you're not sharing. I don't give it. I just don't know my password. It's literally programmed in my phone.
Oh, I
Share
see.
the
It wants
tab,
me
not the
to.
window.
It wants me to be on Chrome to share my audio.
Do we need audio?
Well,
you can narrate
StreamYard.
us. You can narrate us.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'll narrate you. Let's go.
Narrate
Let's do it. Share screen. Boom. There we go. And I will share.
You got to narrate everything now.
Let's do. Yeah, let's narrate everything. Okay. I allow it. I share it. All. There it is. You see blackness? Is that blackness you see?
Spencer is in control of all of that. I see nothing. All right, here we go.
All right, you see it now, right?
All right.
You see words?
I can see words, yes.
Okay. So this is just a brief explanation of the God Realm. So here we're going to see shots, artwork of the wonderful Christian Rossi, space.
Look at that.
There's some universes there. Look, this is the God Realm. Okay.
Woo, exciting.
Notice the coloring. Fantastic. This is Rose impressing the gods while she's doing some work. Here's a little sample of gods fighting each other. No spoilers for the characters. Here's Rose triumphing over a god and killing a god in combat, thus becoming a god herself. Here is a panel of a god facing the god's death, which is what happens when a god loses the tournament. There's the universe, the Milky Way. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Before all of this,
We have
the
sound
God realm
now.
prospered, but the desire for competition
You have sound now.
combat was undeniable. So the gods created the fight game.
Oh, look at. Okay, that's perfect. There
They
we go.
built huge arenas and began to host massive events where gods would fight
This
each
is
other
other
in
audio I'm
one-on-one
hearing.
combat.
What is happening?
Some gods became fighters, others became teachers.
Are you?
But most just wanted to watch another god.
What is happening?
For death itself was
Spencer's
eventually
sharing it.
punishment
Oh,
for
Spencer's
those
doing it now. Oh my God, Spencer.
The
Spencer
winners,
must love
however,
you
were awarded
because
something
Thank you,
far
Spencer.
greater.
Look at that art. I mean, come on.
that's amazing.
Shout out to my boy Trevor for the logo. I mean,
Spencer for the save.
look at Spencer. What is he doing? Oh my God, don't show Spencer, you dog.
It's so funny because your lips matched up with that. Here we go. Let's break it down.
How can we not start with talking about Rose herself? I had this idea
Oh my
for
God,
a
I'm in two
character
places at once right
that
now.
would be
Inception in this
The-
dish.
This is my lovely
embodiment
kitchen.
of someone who's truly in control of their life and their destiny. Having Rose be a god was a choice to also show that even at the absolute highest level of power that you could have over mortal souls, that there's at least one of them that has your best intentions as their primary motivations. Rose
Good,
might
I didn't talk
be
about that. It's good.
a powerful fighter. She might be knowledgeable in all forms of combat. Most powerful weapon is being a citizen of her own planet. And what I mean by that is truly being a god who lives and experiences the same things as you and me. Now let's talk about Randy. When we first meet Randy in the first issue, he's been training martial arts for a few years now, and when he first started martial arts, he was in a very different place and coming from being bullied and just wanting to be able to have the confidence and knowing that he could defend himself. So he joins the gym where Rose teaches martial arts and naturally just picks it up really fast. Particularly wrestling and grappling, he finds joy in being able to control opponents and drop them on their heads whenever he'd like to. He's very much Rose's number one student in terms of how much heart he has. Randy isn't the fastest, he's not the strongest, but you cannot get that guy out. He will not give up. He will not quit. He will not doubt himself. His mental strength and his heart are his biggest assets, and you mix that with a couple years of raw dedication to mixed martial arts now, and Randy is a beast. With Randy, we needed a character that the audience could relate to, and if you're a fan of comic books, if you're a video game fan, if you like movies, Randy is kind of that guy who can relate to you on that level. He loves pop culture, he reads comic books, he watches TV, he loves movies, and he's heavily inspired by these stories, people rising up to stop evil.
God, I love watching myself. If there's anything I love in my life, it's watching clips of myself
And today
talk about my own projects.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Spencer, though, for real, though, for helping us out with that conundrum we were facing.
I don't think he's even been on Instagram in like 7 years.
I know, and I'm sad about it. I wish you guys were. I really do. I really do.
All right, so what you got to do is merge your IG with your Twitter, and every time you post on IG, share to Twitter.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do it. I'll do it. You convince me. I'll do it.
It's a good business move. More viewers, I feel there's more of a comic book crowd on Twitter.
See, and this is what's crazy because I feel that you're right, but I believe it's a certain sect of comic book fans because on Instagram I find comic book collectors, which I am also a big. I'm a very big comic book collector. So being on Instagram, there's a big IG comic book community, which is super cool to be a part of on Instagram. I feel like I feel like the comic book community on Twitter is definitely more on the side of I've seen less about collecting and more about just the spirit of comic books, if that makes sense to people.
No, there is a huge difference. There's also a lot of artists that display their artwork on Instagram as well.
Yeah, I mean, I found Christian on Instagram, so
that is true. So speaking of, all right, I have a question now. Since you're educated in the area of film, what comic book that was translated into a film was the best, and which one was the absolute worst?
Ooh, the worst is easy to say because it's Dark Phoenix. That was just a mess.
Oh my god,
a mess of a film. And what's crazy about the X-Men movies with the Phoenix stuff is they tried to make the same movie twice, and they still messed up with the second one, which is crazy.
Was worse.
Yeah, exactly, and it was
worse.
which is crazy considering that the X-Men Last Stand, the Dark Phoenix was directed by the guy who wrote Last Stand, so that guy literally messed it up twice, and that's really hard to do. How do you mess something up twice in Hollywood? But we'll leave it at that because obviously most people. When it came to Dark Phoenix, I heard the stuff that it was bad, but I really wanted to see for myself and kind of and judge for myself. And I watched it and I was thoroughly disappointed. And I thought it was a very sad end to what they did with the X-Men and the Fox movies. Even though, as an X-Men fan, myself growing up with the X-Men animated series.
Oh, me too.
And
that's fun.
And that being like a huge part of my childhood.
Yeah.
I felt like Days of Futures Past was kind of the high of what they could do with the Fox X-Men, and the Dark Phoenix was like the lowest of the low. And I would say the best. Oh my god, that is so tough. But the most, if I'm gonna go off of the most fun I've had watching a comic book movie, I will say that watching Infinity War, even though I had read the miniseries and was kind of anticipating certain things, I really appreciated what they did with Infinity War and the term subverting expectations is used a lot today. But as a person who read the Infinity Gauntlet, watching Infinity War, I was genuinely surprised at the way that they took the film and the cinematography of both Infinity War and Endgame. It's like, oh man, it's so good. It's so good. It's for people out there that don't know, what it takes to make a movie. It's so hard to make a movie, let alone make a movie where you're having so many beloved characters, where you're trying to, you want to be original, but you also want to pay homage to the fans. You want to give that respect. You want to give that taste of, we hear you, we see you guys have been fans for, some comic book fans have been fans for so long. How do you live up to that expectation of seeing these characters on screen? And I thought Infinity War did a good job of trying to cover all of those bases while also trying to be original in the ways that they could. So for me, watching comic book movies is it's a very intense process, because as a creator myself now, I don't want to be a critic. That's just something I don't want to do. I don't want to watch someone else's work and just pick apart the pieces of their stuff that I didn't like. I find that if I approach it from a different point of view and kind of celebrating the chances that they took and whatever, my own personal, opinions about it, if I set that aside and just appreciate the creative process of what they did, I find myself coming out of that experience much more motivated and inspired to do my own thing and to take my own sort of risks without worrying about what the kind of, what the critics are saying. And I feel that with Rad Rose and with comic books being so under the microscope right now in the last couple of years, I feel like having that kind of mentality of just do your own thing, do what write about what you would want to write about, work with the people that you would want to see. I feel like that's so important today in today's climate for this kind of creative work.
I love that. You're very focused on yourself and your plan for your world you're building and your characters. You're not really too worried about anybody else. A lot of people get caught up in what everybody else is doing and make it like a competition factor, or feel the need to put somebody down, or whatever the case. Sometimes there's moments, we all get caught up in a little bit of negativity or whatnot. But you seem very focused on your own stuff. And I like that. I think that is a very respectable trait to have as a human being. So also, too, it makes me wonder, you're probably your own worst critic. So,
oh my God, it's so bad. It's probably a problem, honestly. I lose sleep quite often, and I stress out immensely when there's any sort of issues with the production of Rad Rose, or if I'm in a place where I feel like the story, like I'm stuck on something story wise, or anything involving Rad Rose, I'm immensely stressed out about unhealthily. But it's also the engine, right? It's also the engine that keeps you moving. I'm consistently. I'm not worried about how people will receive Rad Rose, but for me, the standard of storytelling is so high, and it needs to be consistently at that level. And if it's not, I'm a freaking wreck. It's rough. And I've kind of just grown to learn that that's just a part of my creative process, and ultimately that's what got me to the show in the first place.
So I have another question for you. What is your number one stress when it comes to the production of this comic book or creating anything within this comic book? Are you stressed out about having things be super original? Are you stressed out about a setback in printing or anything? Just anything. I'm just naming examples.
The number one thing I stress out about is making work harder for my teammates than it needs to be. So anytime there's issues with the script versus the pages, let's say I get pages back from Christian and then we get letters on the page, and then maybe there's a problem on the publisher end. Maybe he has some ideas. It's not always negative things, but maybe it's an idea that he had, maybe a different point of view he's offering, and then that leads to changes in the story, and that leads to changes in the art. So that's going to affect my process working with my artist and my letterer, because I'm going to have to, hey, Christian, I love these pages, but we got to change this and we got to change that. Or DC, this lettering is sick, but I think if we did this, it might be better. So it's the number one stress is always just giving my teammates more work than needs to be possible. But I will say, if you have a good relationship with your teammates and they are experienced in what they do, they really help to downplay the severity of what you think might be the end of the world.
I love that. You're very positive, and I think more positivity is needed right now.
I mean, that's the only way. It's the only way. If I delve into the negativity of it, I'll destroy myself. I can't do it. I have to only approach it from a positive standpoint, because at the end of the day, I'm making freaking comic books like this, right? Like at the scope of things, I've worked dishwashing jobs at restaurants where the dishwashing machine broke down and I had to wash it all by hand. Okay, I know what it's like to work a job that just is so bad and so deteriorating of your soul. To make comic books and do something creative, it's very much a dream come true. So yes, I do stress immensely about things and probably over stress for the most part. So at the end of the day, you kind of step back and think, I'm making comic books, so really, why am I stressing out about this kind of stuff? I'm telling stories, and I get to work with people who are so much more talented than I am. It's incredible.
That is so refreshing to hear. You haven't said, you're so positive. I love this right now. I feel like immense happiness right now. Just
all right, there we go.
Energy that is needed. So, you know what? Since you have your background in movie stuff, that stuff, you went to school for, who, if you had to, or you got big enough one day and this blows up a lot, and you could turn Rad Roast into a movie, would you?
No, not a movie. Not a movie.
What would you do?
If I had my choice, it'd be a video game.
A video game.
It would be. And if we're talking like super duper fantasy, let's pick how to make your stuff. I would contact Naughty Dog, who's made some of my all-time favorite video games the past
Crash
Last
Bandicoot
of Us games,
Crash
Bandicoots,
Bandicoot
God of War, the new God of War.
gamer.
Like, I would love for Naughty Dog to turn Rad Roast into a video game. A movie would be cool, but the world is too big. You got it. If it was going to be some sort of media like that, it would need to be a TV show.
So, all right. So, this video game, it would be like a create your own fighter style game, and then you go and fight within the world, or what are you going for? Or like a Telltale game, or I'm curious now. You piqued my interest. So
yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I haven't really thought about it too much. I like the idea of kind of like a dungeon crawler game, kind of like Diablo, where you'd make a character and kind of live in the world of Rad Rose and go around just fighting things and collecting loot. Like that sounds pretty fun to me. I don't want the video game to be like too serious or too like narrative heavy. I would really like a lot of the narrative to be done by the player, which I think would be really cool.
Oh, that's like the Elder Scrolls factor, which I'm addicted to Elder Scrolls completely. All right.
Yeah.
I think Spencer stepped out, and I wanted to share some more of
yeah, please.
Thank you, Spencer.
I'm going to use the restroom while you're sharing this.
Yep, I'm just going to scroll through here, guys, so you guys can see some of the stuff that was worked on. So this is a small snippet from issue 3. So I have to ask David how far he's gotten in this series. And if anyone has any questions for David, please feel free to write them in the chat, and you can ask him whatever it is that you would like as soon as he gets back. And what is this? A preview to an issue 4 cover? Because I know he said it was about 3 years or so. So he has a lot built into this series here. I love this here. This is gorgeous. Well, I'm getting the questions ready, Spencer. Meaning, you know how I always go too fast if anybody has any questions. And then, I wait and it's just too fast. So I'm trying to figure out now if anyone has any questions to line up so that way I can share them with David when he gets back. And I think I need to go back and play that old trailer again, just because the music was so great. So give me 1 second, because I have to reshare my screen. I have to add sound, Spencer. I know. I think we should give him a prize. So we are going to share this Chrome tab again.
I'm back.
Are you dying? I'm going up to play this lovely trailer you had again.
Oh, all right.
So you can jam out.
So I can jam out.
Yeah.
I did the music for it, so I will jam out to my own ish.
All right, let me freeze this for a second. And then I was trying to figure out if anyone has any questions for you. So,
oh my God, is anyone
you know
even
what,
watching?
I realize, I think we have people watching. I don't know how many.
All right.
When I glanced at my phone at one point,
Thank you for watching.
11 people. I know. Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I was exhausted before I came on here. So now I have energy. But let me just play this. Let me stop my camera for 1 second while I do this so I don't lag. And I just love the music in this.
Thanks.
It's like...
After Rose finds out 3 of her students have gone missing in Kratal City, she knows they need to be found and found fast. With the help of another student named Randy, they begin the search themselves. But who exactly is Rose? Where did she come from? And how the f*** does she have superpowers? Find out when you read RAD Rose. Series drops spring 2021 with artwork by Christian Rossi, letters by DC Hopkins, and story by Dave Chisa. AlternaAccess.com.
Oh, shots of
That's your favorite part.
No.
I just want to leave this map up here. So how many issues have you created? Because I was going through and I saw that you even had like a part of a cover up from issue 4. So I know you said 3 years. You've been working on this for 3 years. So how many issues are you planning to launch? How long is the first arc going to be?
So the first 4 issues are a miniseries called The Universe Trophy. And right now, currently, we have 3 issues completed.
So 3 issues completed. And you're working on 4.
We are, correct.
Okay. So you have a lot done. So when these issues come out, you're going to have, how long do you think for a span of time to get issues 1 through 3? Are you going to end up doing an Alterna Giant? I'm curious to see what your plans are.
Yeah, I mean, the plans are up in the air right now because, like I said earlier, when I'm really joining Alterna at a time of, big change and transition. So from what I believe, Alterna is moving to a quarterly release. So depending on what those slates look like for release, currently it looks like we might be able to release every quarter for the next year. So four issues in 1 year, which would be really cool. So yeah, it's very exciting to be a part of Alterna at this time of transition, and but that also kind of leads to a little bit of uncertainty as far as to how the future of Rad Rose will look like as far as being laid out for publishing.
Okay. How are your experiences with Peter? Has Peter given you any advice on anything? I think Peter is the nicest guy. He is one of the nicest, most pleasant people that I've met through working cons. He's just a genuinely nice guy, and I really think that when I read a lot of his tweets that he needs to make a book of everything that he says, because he's very inspirational and so positive within the comic book community as well. So I know he must have given you some kind of advice, something that he told you or said to you that stuck with you that could possibly inspire other people that are here in the chat right now, or that would be just like fun to know.
Absolutely. I would say the biggest influence that Pete has had on my life as a comic book creator is making me a better comic book creator. When it comes to the first issue of Rad Rose, when it came time to give Peter the script, there were a lot of things as a very new comic book writer. There are a lot of things that Pete ended up bringing up to me that made me a better writer so much faster. And I can't tell you how important it is. If you're out there watching right now and you're in a place where you're trying to make a comic book happen for yourself, just be ready to be humbled and know that your ideas, your way of creating is not always going to be as good as you think it is. And just be ready to take criticism from the people that you look up to. I look up to Peter because this guy started a freaking company out of his garage. And he's from making his own comic book and publishing it to getting and building this team of alternate creators that is now what alternate is. If you can't see that and see what he did as being like the ultimate American dream and like doing what you want to do and pursuing something that gets you excited, if you don't see that as something huge and big, then you got to reassess, because what Peter is doing with Alterna is a big deal. And
I agree with you.
It takes a lot of guts to do what Peter does, and it also Peter's not my boss, right? Like
No.
just because my comic book gets accepted by Peter and it's going to get published by Alterna, Peter's not my boss. He's
are
a
your
guy.
own boss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's Mick from Rocky,
Yeah.
right? He's in my corner seeing how many punches I'm taking, and he's saying, you gotta keep going, kid. You gotta keep pushing forward, and you gotta do this. He's that guy in your corner who's consistently pushing you and trying to tell you, I believe in your comic book, so believe in it yourself. And it just, if you give in to that and you don't take it from a negative standpoint and you take it from a positive, and that Peter is just trying to make you better, man, Peter has been a big influence in making me a better writer, creator, and comic book kind of, I don't know, man. He just gets me excited about comic books.
I think he gets everybody excited about comic books. And he's very supportive of anybody that wants to come over to Alterna and, when he publishes your work. And you are your own boss. I think a lot of people don't understand that. So maybe if you want to elaborate that a little bit more, because I think people are confused sometimes.
Yeah, you gotta know that your publisher's not it's your publisher is there to print your books and get them out. But the rest of it, the promotion, the building the hype for the title, that falls to you. And you got to just look at the times with technology and the internet and social media. You got to be out there. You got to be promoting not only your own book, but dude, uplift the other creators too. One of my biggest skill sets as a human being is getting excited as a fan and wanting to share that excitement with others. I absolutely love learning about people who are doing anything creative, and I love uplifting them and encouraging them to pursue it, because life is too damn short to not try and go after what you're doing. So it falls to you. Do you want to be somebody who promotes your stuff one way, or do you want to be somebody who promotes your stuff another way? So for me personally, being a part of Alterna, that is a publishing company that's so vast and wide. You have so many creators from so many different parts of the world who are coming together under the Alterna umbrella to put out content that is absolutely delicious and original. So why not just celebrate that? I mean, that's a victory in itself, right? With so many things the way the world is today, with so many people trying to tell you you can't create this, you can create that. Alterna is truly a celebration of freedom of creation, and it's just a blessing to be a part of.
Before I get into a couple questions, because there are a couple questions here for you this evening, I just want you to let people know everything that basically you are responsible for when you go to create a comic book. Because I don't think enough people talk about this, about everything. You have to find the artist. You have to find a publishing company or self-publish. There's a lot of different things that go into it. You're responsible for payment. If you want to just elaborate on some of that for people so they can understand, especially for people that want to create comics in this industry, so they know what they're going to get into. So
Absolutely.
They're prepared a little bit.
Absolutely. I would say number one biggest piece of advice, pay your teammates. Be prepared. Look, a lot of the artists, a lot of the letterers, a lot of the inkers that you're going to be working with are trying to make this their jam. They're trying to make this their job that helps them pay for their mortgage or their kids' food or their rent. So please, first piece of advice, budget for yourself. That doesn't mean you have to put yourself in debt to find people to work with, but be realistic about your budget. Take a look at your finances from a business standpoint and say, this is what I can afford, and this is what will put me in freaking debt and ruin my life. Know that line. And then when it comes time to find your team and to form that team, be upfront about what your budget is. And more often than not, you will find that they will be willing to work with you, whether that's payments or whatever. Just be upfront about anything. Don't be shady, because when you are going to be paying people to make a comic book that you're creating, you now, whether or not you have a official license or title, you now have become a business, and a good business pays their employees what they say they're going to pay them. So just start with that. Just do that. If you can afford to pay your artist $20 a freaking week and they're cool with that, do it. Do it. Because the better relationship you have with your teammates, the more willing they will be to help you out when problems arise. And really, that's what I feel like I'm paying my teammates for. I feel like I'm paying Christian and DC for their experience in the industry so far. And when I come to them with problems, because I'm a new creator, I know as a new creator, I'm going to have problems. I'm going to experience things for the first time that cause me frustration and panic. So I know I'm paying my teammates for that kind of peace of mind. They'd be like, dude, it's okay. This is what goes into making comic books. It's okay. Chill out. We got your back. We'll get it done. And that has happened numerous times with Rad Rose. And I'm telling you, when you pay your teammates, the willingness for them to help you and quell any sort of issues you might have it's priceless. It really is. So pay your freaking teammates, and also know that the competition for comics right now is high. There are amazing comic book creators out there right now, and more pop up every single day. So know that the community that you're stepping into has a bar that is set fairly high.
It's up there.
However, if you are just honest and you are yourself when it comes to promoting your comic, you will find that the community of comic book readers and creators is so accepting and so exciting to be a part of. And I feel like that's what gets me the most excited about making Rad Rose. Is I'm stepping into a world of fans that go back a long ways. We're talking, golden age. There are fans that are still reading comic books that bought comic books all the way back then. So just know that exactly. Know the community, research the community, know what you're stepping into, know that it runs deep and it's filled with Americana. Celebrate the fact that comic books are a celebration of Americana. Dig into that, celebrate that. Read comic books, work with people who have been in the industry. Just surround yourself with people who have that kind of knowledge. And I mean, for me personally, it's been just nothing but exciting. I feel, there's a lot of times I feel like a doughy-eyed boy in a candy shop while everyone else is, kind of the jaded, experienced comic book creators. But for me, I found that having this kind of mentality throughout life has served me well so far. So I'll continue to have this kind of positive outlook on comic books because to me, I can create the stories that I want to create without any restrictions in comic books. And to me, that's the ultimate expression of freedom when it comes to storytelling.
I agree with you. Now I'm going back up to some questions. I'm sorry. All right, Emily. Emily Salisbury asked, do you have any other stories in the pipeline?
I mean, yeah, always. There's always stories in the pipeline. And
okay, so
storytelling.
So hypothetically, all right, I'm gonna extend a little bit on her question because you have other stories in the pipeline. After Rad Rose, is there a particular idea that you have that you want to go and work on? Can you work on more than one idea simultaneously, or is this 100% all of your focus, or do you have the ability to multitask and do both at the same time?
I'm always writing. I'm definitely always writing. So a big thing that has been a big part of my life the last 9 months has been Dungeons and Dragons. And I never played before, never even looked into what D&D was. But the last 9 months I've dove headfirst into it, and writing campaigns and building worlds, as I've done with Red Rose, has been something that has been super inspirational and has kept the creative juices alive. But as far as comic book specific ideas, yes, I would love to write a children's comic book about snowboarding because my son is 2.5 years old pretty soon, and snowboarding is a big part of my life. And after doing Rad Rose and dealing with the intensity of the afterlife and the gods and what it means to have a soul and all of these super intense, really deep, points of thinking in my life, I'd really like to write something that's a little lighthearted and more for children. So yeah, I've had an idea to write a children's snowboarding story for a long time, and Rad Rose is always, I think, for as long as I'm alive, I'm always going to want to tell stories in Rad Rose, and beyond issue 4 of Rad Rose is plenty of story to be told.
Well, I mean, you have that beautiful map that you created, and there's many places you can go in the world of Rad Rose. And I'm hoping
Yes.
we'll get through all of those places. And then
Me
our
too.
next question, the ladies tonight coming in with the questions. I love this. You know what? They said that basically our viewers were like 1% women. So I think this is the highest amount of women that we've had here. So
Let's
thank you,
go.
ladies, for coming out. They didn't come out for me. They came out for you. So
Hey.
it wasn't for me. It was for you and your dancing. I told you, you should have done some splits. We'd have more viewers. Get that Jean-Claude Van Damme done. All right, so Ashley Nieto, I hope I'm not butchering your name. I'm so sorry if I am. She asked if you could write a series for any comic character, who or what would it be?
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Oh, man, that is a good one. I mean, Iron Fist. It's got to be Iron Fist.
Iron Fist.
Absolutely.
Why?
I feel like Iron Fist has been... I feel like there's so much potential for Iron Fist, and there's been some very good Iron Fist stories told. But there's also been some very, very bad Iron Fist stories told. And I feel like the overall, the martial art aspect of the Marvel comic books has been neglected for quite some time. And I feel like with the resurgence of Shang-Chi coming out in a couple weeks with the movie, and Daredevil always kind of, being a person who people speculate on being a part of the new movies or not. I feel like the martial arts aspect of the Marvel universe is on the cusp of having a breakthrough. So I would love the chance to be a part of bringing the martial art side of the MC comic books back to life.
Well, yeah, you could do like the whole go into like Master of Kung Fu and everything. I mean, all right, you would have Fin Fang Foom appear, right? I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, you gotta, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just asking. So.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Fin Fang Foom. You gotta find,
right?
You gotta find. See, I feel like it's so hard to have a job at Marvel or DC these days because you have to. You want to do something original, but you also want to pay respect to all of those stories and creators that came before you. So how do you do that? Honestly, taking a job at Marvel or DC right now seems absolutely terrifying, and I honestly can't say that I would for sure take a job for that, just because it's just so hard, man. It's like, why not spend that time and energy creating your own stuff if it's going to be under the microscope, rightfully so, as it should be for those characters that have been around for so long now.
Yep, it's very hard too, because people that have read these characters forever are attached to these characters for who they are, and there's so many retcons.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it's very hard for someone with my dad. My dad's not happy with certain things because he's read them for so long and they were how it was, and not necessarily the changes, but it's more like the changes he feels are not written as well as they were. But it's hard, especially when, for me personally, I grew up in the Claremont era, grew up reading all the Claremont era stuff because that was all his favorite stuff. And it's hard for me
Absolutely.
to compare the writing styles now to Chris Claremont's stuff.
Oh man, I know. Right.
It's very
Absolutely.
hard for me.
Right.
So
Yeah. There's a big part of you that wants to just kind of close that part of storytelling and try to do something else, you know?
Oh,
And
yes.
I think that's what I find the most appealing about independent comic book making is we're all fans. We all
yes,
we want it
definitely.
all. We want it all. We're the fans. But we also know that you can't catch lightning in a bottle twice. Like you have to be willing to move on from stories that are great, you know, and that's hard to do when they're making movies and TV shows that are taking storylines all the way back from, you know, Silver Age, Bronze Age. That's really tough to do, and to kind of feel like, you know,
yeah,
that was then and this is now.
Yeah, it's hard. I think the hardest thing for me, at least, is when they go back and refer to that story, but then change that story instead of just making a brand new story. And we need more brand new stories, and we need more brand new characters. And that's, you know, what I really love about the independent books right now is all the original characters. And yes, everybody is inspired by everything that we grew up reading and everything that we grew up watching. Like you said, you know, X-Men animated series. Even though you didn't read comic books, you still were involved with comics. So if you think about it,
Absolutely.
you said it was
Oh,
5 years.
yes.
I mean, the X-Men
Absolutely.
animated series is great. That's probably why you have that great music going on in the background of that trailer.
Oh man, it was such a the X-Men animated series was such a big impact on my childhood because it was the first time where I saw characters that openly discussed feeling ostracized from society, and building that kind of empathy for characters that, you know, especially for Beast, somebody who looked so vastly different and who often was a different type of thinker, and there were just so many things that stuck out to me at such a young age that were like, wow, the X-Men are really a group of people that would get made fun of like all the time by so many people, and they find that unity with each other in that, and it propels them forward to greatness. And I was like, oh, I'm like 8 years old taking this in, like, oh my god, this is incredible. These kinds of characters are inspirational for my way of life, you know. So tying it back into Rad Rose, just wanting to write that kind of character that could be a sliver of that kind of inspiration that it was for me. Those are kind of characters that I want to write stories about.
I gotta stop you real quick there. So Destiny Chisa, who's either your wife or a sister or a cousin, she's beautiful, very beautiful from her, you know, well, I know you're married, so she's very beautiful. I'm trying to figure out if she's related to you or your wife. It's either or. She has a question for you.
Okay.
It's like, what childhood shows did you watch that may have been an impact on your journey with writing and creating Rad Rose? So X-Men probably is one of them, but are there any others?
Yeah, I mean, the X-Men animated series, obviously, and the Spider-Man animated series were something that I watched immensely as a kid. But a little bit later in life, the Game of Thrones TV show was a big influence on my writing style, as far as taking characters in a more realistic sense. So I love Tolkien for what he did with The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and I love what Martin did in kind of grounding that story and those characters into, you know, the more way of religion and politics and the way things work with that kind of stuff. So I would say those really had a big influence on my life as far as like the world building. I feel like building the world of Rad Rose was just as important as the characters, and I really needed to get a sense of the scale of what Rose would go through to really understand the character I'm writing about. So these anytime I could have stories of epic scale, whether that was Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, anytime where these creators built these vast, complicated worlds with rich lore are always very exciting to me. But I will say, one movie in particular, and I owe this to my mama for showing me when I'm a little boy, is the movie Willow. And I will say,
God. It makes me cry to this day. I can't watch it. It makes me cry.
I will say that the movie Willow is just an inspiration just for myself. I wouldn't even say it's like an inspiration for being a writer, but it's literally an inspiration as a person and approaching, like, if I'm sounding positive to you, you have no idea. I have to approach everything in my life from this type of point of view, or else I become the worst kind of person I can be. I have to be positive about every single thing in my life, especially the things I'm doing creatively, to have a positive impact, or else I'm just a wreck. So Willow and the character of him specifically, and him being the biggest underdog you could ever be, and maintaining positivity and striving to be the best version that they could be, just like Frodo, just like Harry freaking Potter, just like freaking Jon Snow, all these characters who strive.
Spencer hates, by the way. He makes so much fun of me all the time for this, so I'm enjoying this. See, Spencer, I told you all of this stuff is great.
Oh, we're out there. I understand, and that's what I love about you, Death Curse peeps, and you offering the different side of that coin. But I will say my side of the coin specifically, I just lead with that positivity. I dive into that over positive type of thinking and that kind of underdog mentality, because that's all I've known all my life. I've always been counted out. I've always been underestimated, and every time I've persevered through that, it's led to absolute fantasticness. So why would I shy away from any of that now?
I love that. I feel so inspired right now, and I just feel instantly happier. All right, like, this is great. So I think this is a great point to close off. So Rad Rose, everybody, it's coming out September 8th. It'll be on Alterna, correct? Did I get the date wrong, or is that the 9th?
AlternaAccess.com, September 8th, along with many other great Alterna titles.
Yes. And where can everyone find you?
So I am on Instagram, is where I'm the most available and most where I post the most often. So @dad_baddie, and you'll find me there. I do have a Twitter, but I'm not active on it. But I do want to get active on it and learn how to interact better with the comic book community, because it is a great community on there.
Definitely. Just like I said, link the images or whatever you're posting with your books or whatever from your Instagram right to the Twitter. That's it. That's all you need to do. And make that map.
That's all.
I want to see that map turn into a poster. Okay? That's
okay.
My thing. That map got to turn into some kind of poster. So,
all right. Yeah.
From
I'll
one
work on
fantasy nerd to another. All right, guys. So I guess the pre-order is down for Rad Rose, but as soon as it comes out, September 8th, you can go and pick it up.
Yes, please do.
Please do.
Let me know what you think.
Yeah, either find a local shop that carries Alterna, or just go right online, Alterna Access. And David wants to know what you think, right, David? Is there anything else
I do.
Everybody? Tell me
what you think about Rad Rose if you pick it up on September 8th. And if you do pick up the first issue, we had the immense task of building this world and kind of getting it ready for you. So stick with us past the first issue, because there is so much to come. And Christian's artwork, I mean, if you haven't read a book from Christian where he's done the artwork, I mean, I don't even know what you're doing. Can you call yourself a comic book fan? 'Cause Christian is one of the best artists that I have ever had the pleasure of viewing his work, and DC's lettering is so right. Like, the lettering job is so thankless, because if you do a good job with lettering, you don't really see it. It's just the lettering is what gives the comic book your comic book feel. So take in Christian's art, take in DC's lettering, and take a little bit of my writing and see if you like it. If you do, and you like issue 1, I guarantee you're going to like the next 3 issues, because it just gets crazier and a lot more fun.
No, they have to get the first 3 issues to decide whether or not they like it. That's my thing with comics.
That's good. That's good.
I
Okay.
need to read 3 issues to see if I like a book.
Oh, if you're going to do that,
me,
then if you're going to
personally.
read the first 3 issues of Rad Rose, you are going to love it, and it's going to be a celebration. Let's celebrate together. Let's do it.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting Kayla Cuts Deep. And thank you for coming and hanging out and finding out all about David Chisa from his work.
Thank
to him
you
as
so
a
much.
person, you are an awesome human being. And it's been a pleasure
thank
having
you
you
so
on
much.
and all your positivity. I am so pumped for this book. And I have people in the chat that are saying that they're pumped. And guys, it's $2 an issue.
It's $2. I mean, come on. And the Alterna's new books that they're coming out with on September 8th are the best. You heard it from me, and I heard it from the man himself. Peter said these are the best books that Alterna has ever printed. So the quality is mwah. So pick up all, what is it? It's like 10 or 11 books that are dropping September 8th. Pick them all up. It'll be like, what, like $30? Come on.
Oh, you
got
free
30
shipping.
bucks.
You get free shipping after 25,
I mean,
believe.
come on, right? It's better than
Alterna's
Amazon.
free.
Come on.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
definitely.
do it.
All right, everybody. Have a great night. Follow David on Twitter and Instagram. And pick up Rad Rose on September 8th on alternaaccess.com. Good night, everybody.